everybody, these cheeseburger quesadillas are one of my favorite weeknight dinners, and today I'm going to show you how I make them nice and fast for dinner. We seriously eat these about once a week. They're like a more fun way to eat a cheeseburger. They have lots of melty cheese inside. We make my really nice dipping sauce that's super simple as well, and there's about a 50% chance my kids will eat them, which honestly is fantastic. It's a pretty simple recipe. Here's what you need to get started. Grab yourself a large skillet. We're going to turn our stovetop heat to medium and let this warm up for a bit. Once that's warmed up and I can feel the heat radiating off the pan, I'm going to add like a tablespoon of oil. Use like a neutral cooking oil. I'm using avocado oil, but even olive oil would be fine. Let that disperse into the pan. And then I always like to cook 1/3 cup of onions. This is just a really finely chopped onion, adds a little bit of flavor. We're gonna cook this first, get it all in there. Just cook it for a couple minutes until the onion's nice and translucent. Since it's so fine, it's only going to take you like 2 minutes, maybe 3. So while the onion is cooking, I'll usually mix up the dipping sauce. You can drizzle this over your quesadillas or dip them in it, or you can skip it altogether. But it really is it's just like a nice burger sauce, and it works really well. It's just 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. These onions are making me cry. It's emotional. 2 tablespoons of ketchup, a real simple burger sauce here. And then 3 tablespoons of small chopped or finely chopped or even minced dill pickles. This is a super small dish. It's better for serving than mixing, but we're gonna make it work. Just mix this up. I like to mix this up early on just so the flavors have some time to meld, and I'll just pop this in the fridge while everything's cooking. Cover it up and pop it in the fridge. All right, our onion is moving along pretty nicely here. So now I'm going to add the ground beef. First I'll season it. Just some salt and some pepper. Drop it right in the skillet, flip it over. I'll season the other side. And then we'll just cook the beef, crumble it as we cook it. We're just gonna cook it until it's nice and browned. So I'm using a pretty lean ground beef right now. I don't usually have to drain it after I cook it. But if yours has a lot of grease, I would recommend draining that. Otherwise, your quesadillas can get super greasy. This is my favorite way to eat cheeseburgers, other than maybe my smash burgers that are on my website. Once your meat is cooked through, we're going to add some seasoning. We'll start with 3 tablespoons of ketchup, all in there, and just 2 teaspoons of yellow mustard, classic burger sauces. Mix that in. Start mixing it in. It's bothering me. I didn't get all the mustard, so here we go. Start mixing that in, and then I'll add the pickles. This is a 1/2 cup of small chopped dill pickles. I like them to be nice and small so they're not really bulky when you're eating it, and everything kind of melds together nicely. So you've got like, small pieces of beef that's seasoned and small pickles and melty cheese. It just works nicely. I'm gonna drop all that in there, mix everything together. We're gonna turn down our heat. Actually, I'm gonna turn off the heat at this point because we're pretty much done with cooking everything for our filling. Should be smelling pretty darn good. I'm so excited. I'm excited for dinner tonight. Move this off the heat, make some room for our next skillet. Before I start cooking these, I like to start assembling them. So I'm actually gonna slide this guy over here and let's put the quesadillas together. It only takes a second. You're going to want some 8-inch flour tortillas. These are mine. I should have the recipe on the website by the time you're seeing this video. I have a sourdough version and I have a regular version. I made these 2 days ago and they're still super soft and pliable. I absolutely love these, but you can use store-bought flour tortillas. I totally get it. So I'll usually do 2 at a time. Just pop them on a plate. I'm gonna take our cheese. I shred 8 ounces of a mild cheddar cheese. Mild just kind of works better, but you can use, sometimes I'll do a blend of cheddar and Monterey to make it a little bit more creamy, or even American cheese would be the classic choice because cheeseburgers often use American cheese. So the cheese is our glue, so we're just gonna take a bit of cheese and put that down on the first layer. And you can use this recipe to make either 6 or 8 quesadillas. It just kind of depends on, how bulky you want them to be, how much meat you want per tortilla. I usually go a little overboard and end up making 6. And if you like exact measurements, I'll put those in the description. So, if you like to measure exactly what you're doing. All right, then we need a little bit more of our glue, our cheese, put that in there, and then just fold that quesadilla over. Sometimes it needs just a little bit of gentle pressing to hold. We'll do another one because we can do 2 at a time. I should have my skillet heating up over medium heat. And more cheese glue. This one's gonna be a big one. Fold that over. Okay, our skillet should be heating up. Mine's not, we can fix that. I usually just turn it to medium heat, sometimes a notch above medium, but then once I start cooking, I usually have to turn it down just a smidge again. Medium's your safest bet. Once it's nice and hot, I add a little bit of oil, like just a really, really light bit of oil. I'll usually just put a drizzle in. That's actually more than I want, so I usually wipe it out. So we just have a really thin layer. Too much can make your quesadillas greasy. Just to be honest with you, sometimes I'll even use like a little bit of butter, but that will also make the outside a little bit greasy. So just, you decide what works best for you. So we'll take our quesadillas and we're gonna lay it down. Skillet could be a little hotter, that's okay. Take our second one and we'll let these cook. So they should get nice and golden. Once they're golden, we're going to flip them to the other side, let them get nice and golden on the other side as well. While these are cooking, I'll start preparing my next quesadillas. No more glue. I'm gonna take a peek at this guy over here, just make sure nobody's getting too brown. Nope, we still have a little bit of time. Just keep an eye on them. How long they're going to take is really going to depend on so many things. What kind of stovetop you have, your exact heat, how hot your stovetop runs. So just keep an eye on them, look for them to be turning a nice golden brown. Love these. I'm making mine pretty big. All right, this is looking pretty good, so let's slide our spatula under. This is always the trickiest part. It's not really that hard. Hold it on this side. Carefully flip it, don't burn yourself. So you can probably, if you're like me, only cook 2 of these at a time. Since I want to keep the first batch warm while the rest are cooking, I'll turn my oven on really low, like to 200 degrees, and then just take a cookie sheet. Your best bet is to have a wire rack on top. That way the air can circulate. If you just put them on a baking sheet, they can get a little bit soggy, but I'll put them on the baking sheet and I'll pop them in the oven and they'll stay, nice and warm without getting soggy while the rest are cooking. This is not my regular stovetop, so everything's a little clunky when I'm using this thing. But as a perk, you should be able to see everything better. This guy's getting hot. I'm gonna move him. So let's just slide this guy over. Quesadilla number 2. I usually do a quick wipe out between if things got messy, which of course they got messy this time because I'm recording it. Quesadilla number 2. Nope, number 3. Round number 2. Never learned how to count. You can turn that off. We're looking pretty good here. Let's move these guys over to a plate. All right, let's bring in our sauce. I always cut these in half. You could cut them into quarters instead. Oh yeah. That is how you make these cheeseburger quesadillas and my favorite burger sauce, which is pretty similar to the sauce I also make for my smash burgers. I don't think I've made a video of those yet, but they are on the website. I hope your whole family loves these as much as mine does, and I hope they become a weeknight staple or a weekly staple for you as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Favorite part of the day, with some sauce on there. Oh, you can like pull these open and drizzle the sauce inside, or you can dip it, or you can drizzle it on top. You can figure it out. You got this. That was amazing. I think you're gonna love it. It's not working. Can't believe how much the onions are bothering me. I don't know where to put this. Ooh, onions. What happened? What do you mean? 140? What are we doing here? I feel like that was unnecessary. I don't know what's going on here. This guy. Oh, that's hot. Can you see?